Welcome back to Tell Me More Stories Told Us podcast. Glad to have you here for another deep dive. You know, it's amazing how the most ordinary things we use every day, can have the most extraordinary stories behind them.
It really is.
And today, we're going to be looking at one of those everyday marvels, the zipper.
The zipper.
Yeah. Ever wonder where this tiny but mighty invention came from?
You know, I never really thought about it. It's just always been there.
Exactly. And that's why we're here to uncover the surprising and often hilarious history of the zipper.
Sounds intriguing.
So let's go back in time, all the way to 1851. Picture this. Elias Howe, the guy who revolutionized sewing with his invention of the sewing machine.
Oh, I know Elias Howe.
Patents something called a fastening for garments.
A fastening for garments. That sounds like a zipper.
It does, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't the sleek, efficient zipper we know today.
Oh, what was it like?
Think more like a really, really complicated drawstring system with cords and loops, almost like a corset, not a zipper.
Ah, so not quite the zipper revolution just yet.
Nope. And you know what's even more surprising? How, despite inventing the sewing machine, didn't really pursue this fastening for garments idea.
He just let it go.
Pretty much.
Yep.
He was already riding the wave of success with the sewing machine. I guess he just didn't see the potential of his fastening for garments.
That's incredible. Talk about a missed opportunity.
Right. Makes you wonder, what if?
Totally. But, you know, maybe that's how innovation works sometimes. One person has an idea, but it takes someone else to come along and really make it work.
And that brings us to our next innovator in the zipper saga, Whitcomb Judson. He bursts onto the scene in 1893 and patents the clasp blocker.
The clasp blocker. Okay, so getting closer to the zipper.
Sort of. It was a much more complex hook and eye system.
Yeah.
Kind of like those old-fashioned shoe fasteners,
Yeah.
but even more complicated.
Oh, I can imagine those. Not exactly known for their elegance or ease of use.
Exactly. And, you won't believe this, Judson decided to debut this clasp blocker at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair.
The World's Fair. Talk about aiming high. Did it wow the crowds?
Let's just say it didn't exactly become the star of the show. It was, well, kind of flop.
Ouch. That had to sting a little. But hey, even the best inventions have to start somewhere, right?
Absolutely. And Judson, even though his clasp blocker wasn't a hit, he got the ball rolling. He inspired others to improve on his design.
So who picked up that ball and ran with it?
Enter Gideon Sundbäck, a Swedish-American engineer. Now, this is where the zipper story gets really exciting.
Okay, I'm all ears. What did Sundbäck do?
Well, he was working for the Universal Fastener Company and took Judson's basic idea, that hook and eye thing, and made some key improvements.
So he was the one who finally cracked the zipper code.
You could say that. First, he really focused on the teeth, you know, those little interlocking parts. He increased the number of them per inch, which made the zipper close so much smoother.
Ah, so that's why modern zippers just glide.
Precisely. And that wasn't all. Sundbäck introduced the concept of 2 rows of teeth facing each other, kind of like what we see in zippers today. This interlocking design made the closure so much more secure.
Wow, so Sundbäck really was the zipper hero. But I have a question. I always heard he was Canadian.
That's a common misconception. While he did some work in Canada later in his career, his big contributions to the zipper all happened right here in the U.S.
Good to know. So Sundbäck gave us the smooth, gliding, interlocking teeth zipper. That's amazing. But what about the name? How did it get to be called a zipper?
Now, that's a story in itself. And believe it or not, it involves rubber boots and tobacco pouches. But before we jump into that tale, I wanted to remind everyone to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss out on any more fascinating stories on Tell Me More.
Great idea.
Okay, back to those rubber boots and tobacco pouches. They play a key role in giving the zipper its name.
I would never have guessed that. Tell me more.
It all starts with the B.F. Goodrich Company. You know, the tire people.
Yeah, I know them.
Well, in 1923, they decided to use Sundbäck's fastener on a new line of rubber boots, galoshes.
Rubber boots with zippers. That's a combo I wouldn't have thought of.
Right. But Goodrich saw the potential. They realized zippers would make those boots much easier to get on and off, especially in messy weather.
Okay, that makes sense. So how did this lead to the name zipper?
Goodrich was so impressed with how quick and easy it was to use Sundbäck's fastener that they decided it needed a catchy name. And they landed on zipper. It just captured the sound it made.
Zipper. It's perfect. That zipping sound is so distinctive.
Right. And from that moment on, zipper became the go-to word for this amazing new fastener.
So we have Goodrich and rubber boots to thank for the name zipper. But I'm guessing rubber boots weren't the most glamorous way to show off this new invention. What about those tobacco pouches?
Well, you see, tobacco pouches were one of the very first things that embraced the zipper.
Really? Why?
Think about it. You really need a secure closure for a tobacco pouch, right?
Makes sense. You wouldn't want tobacco spilling everywhere.
Yeah.
So is the tobacco industry the reason the zipper became popular?
They definitely played a part. But honestly, the world was ready for a better fastener. Buttons were fiddly, hooks and eyes always popped open, and drawstrings were just inconvenient. The zipper was like a breath of fresh air.
It's funny how sometimes an invention comes along at just the right time.
Exactly. But the zipper story doesn't end there. It needed that one big break, that one application that would make it a fashion icon. And that's where our story continues.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear about it. So where were we? Oh yeah, the zipper was ready for its big fashion moment.
That's right. But before we get there, I think it's important to remember that the zipper's appeal wasn't just about being practical.
You're right, it had a certain something, a cool factor.
Exactly. It was like a symbol of, well, progress, modernity, like trading in your horse-drawn carriage for a shiny new car.
A perfect analogy. And that modern vibe played a huge role in what I like to call the Battle of the Fly.
The Battle of the Fly. Okay, now you have to tell me more about that.
Well, picture this. 1937, men's fashion is undergoing a major shift. Tailored suits are all the rage.
I can see it now. Sleek lines, sharp cuts.
Exactly. And those sleek suits needed a fastener that could, well, keep up.
So the zipper wasn't just functional, it was a fashion statement.
You got it. And guess who was leading this fashion revolution? The French, of course.
Always ahead of the curve, those Parisians.
They embraced the zippered fly like no one else. To them, it represented sophistication, a modern kind of masculinity.
I bet those Parisian fashion shows were quite a sight. Models strutting their stuff in suits with, zippered flies.
Oh, it was a spectacle. And soon enough, Esquire magazine, the ultimate authority on men's style at the time, took notice.
Esquire magazine, that's a big deal.
Huge. They declared the zippered fly to be, well, the best thing since sliced bread for men's trousers.
So Esquire gave the zippered fly their stamp of approval, and it was all over for buttons.
You could say that. But their endorsement wasn't just about fashion, though.
What else was there?
Well, they touted the convenience factor, obviously. But they also had this, shall we say, more delicate argument in their favor.
Okay, now I'm really curious.
They claimed that the zippered fly prevented unintentional and embarrassing disarray.
Well, I guess that's one way to put it. But hey, if it worked.
And it did. From that moment on, the zippered fly became the standard for men's trousers. It was a true fashion revolution, and all thanks to our little friend, the zipper.
It's amazing how this simple invention could have such a huge impact on something as personal as clothing.
It shows you how technology, culture, even our own sense of style are all intertwined. But the zipper's story goes beyond fashion. Did you know it's also played a crucial role in exploration, pushing the boundaries of what humans can do?
Wait, are you talking about those airtight zippers you mentioned earlier? The ones used in spacesuits?
The one and only. But these aren't your average zippers. They have to withstand extreme temperatures, intense pressure, even the vacuum of space.
That's asking a lot from the zipper. How do they even make them that tough?
Well, airtight zippers are a feat of engineering. They have this special waterproof sheeting that's bonded to the fabric and then wrapped around the teeth.
So it's like a super seal.
Precisely. When the zipper's closed, this sheeting gets squeezed super tight, creating a double seal that practically nothing can get through. No air, no water, nothing.
Wow. So it's like a zipper on steroids, built for extreme conditions.
That's a great way to put it. But all that sealing power comes at a price. Airtight zippers are notoriously stiff.
I can imagine. You wouldn't want any leaks in a spacesuit out in space, but that stiffness must make them a bit of a challenge to use.
It's definitely a workout. Imagine trying to zip up a suit made of, reinforced plastic. It takes a lot of strength to get those airtight zippers open and closed because the slider has to pry apart those tightly sealed teeth.
No wonder astronauts need to be in top physical shape.
You're telling me. But it's not just about brute force. It also takes a ton of precision. You have to be really meticulous with airtight seal.
So no room for error with these zippers. They really are the unsung heroes of exploration.
I like that, unsung heroes. And speaking of unsung heroes, I stumbled across this really interesting historical tidbit that shows how badly people wanted a good fastener.
Oh, tell me more. I love a good history lesson.
Imagine this, 1916 Australia. Newspapers are running ads for this new hookless fastener, claiming it's the invention the world's been waiting for.
1916. That's way before zippers really took off in the U.S.
Right, and get this, they even had a live model showing off this amazing new invention in a store window.
A live model. Now that's dedication to marketing.
It shows you that even back then, people recognized the potential of a good, reliable fastener. They were ready for something better than buttons and hooks.
It's like the world was primed for the zipper, just waiting for it to arrive. But it took a few more years and some brilliant minds to really perfect the design.
And that brings us back to Gideon Sundbäck, the man who truly revolutionized the zipper. But, we've been so focused on the big names in zipper history, we haven't even talked about all the different types of zippers out there.
You're right. There are coil zippers, invisible zippers, those super strong metal ones. And then there are those specialized ones, like those airtight zippers we were just talking about. It's a whole zipper universe out there.
It really is. And each type of zipper has its own unique design, its own purpose. Think about it. You've got the delicate hidden zippers in your clothes, the heavy-duty metal ones on workwear.
It's amazing how they've evolved to meet all these different needs.
And the evolution's still happening. But before we get into the exciting world of modern zipper technology, I wanted to ask you something. We've talked about the zipper being the symbol of progress, of modernity, but have you ever thought about how much it's impacted our daily lives?
That's a good question. I guess it's so common now we barely even notice it anymore. But you're right, the zipper really has become seamlessly integrated into our lives.
Exactly. It's everywhere. Clothes, bags, tents, even spacesuits like we were just talking about.
It really is the unsung hero of modern life, isn't it? We take it for granted, but can you imagine a world without zippers? We'd be stuck with buttons and, well, things would be much more literally buttoned up.
Haha, I love that. A more buttoned up place. And to think it all started with a simple need. A better way to fasten our clothes.
That's the beauty of invention, right? It often comes from the most basic human needs.
And who knows what amazing zipper innovations the future holds.
Maybe we'll have self-healing zippers, or zippers that change color to match our outfits.
The possibilities are endless, but one thing's for sure, the zipper's journey is far from over. You know those amazing zipper innovations we were talking about? Well, get this.
I'm ready. Hit me with it.
One of the coolest things happening in the zipper world is, get this, magnetic zippers.
Magnetic zippers. Okay, now that sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right? Imagine a zipper you can close with just one hand.
Okay, I'm picturing it. But how do they even work? Is it magic?
It's pretty close. Instead of those regular interlocking teeth, magnetic zippers use, well, magnets. 2 rows of them that just snap together.
Wow, so no more fumbling with those tiny zipper pulls.
Exactly. I can already see how useful that would be, especially for athletes, skiers, snowboarders, anyone who needs to get their gear on or off quickly, even with gloves on.
Oh, absolutely. And I bet it would be a game changer for people with disabilities, too, making it much easier to dress themselves.
Exactly. It's a great example of how technology can really improve people's lives.
Couldn't agree more. But, it all goes back to that simple idea, that quest for a better fastener. And it's become this thing we use every day without even thinking about it.
It really has. It's like the zipper is this silent partner in our life, helping us get dressed, pack our bags, explore the world, even go to space.
And it all started with someone saying, there has to be a better way.
That's the beauty of human ingenuity, and that's what makes exploring these stories so fascinating.
Well said. And on that note, I think we've come to the end of our zipper deep dive. It's been quite a journey, from those clunky clasp blockers to high-tech airtight zippers, and now magnetic zippers. Who knows what's next?
Right, maybe self-healing zippers or color-changing zippers.
The possibilities are endless. But until those futuristic zippers arrive, we hope you've enjoyed our little trip through zipper history.
It's been fun exploring the unexpected story behind this often overlooked invention.
And remember, there are always more amazing stories to uncover, more everyday marvels waiting to be explored. So join us next time on Tell Me More for another deep dive into the past.
And until then, keep that curiosity alive. There's always more to discover.